Hi Stats class, it's Miss O'Neill. I am currently going to go over question number 1 from your Quadratic Formula Assignment number 1 worksheet. As you can tell, we are going to be using the quadratic formula, which I have replaced all of the letters with a set of parentheses that I'm going to substitute using the 3 values from our quadratic equation. Remember, as long as the equation is in x squared, or what we call standard form, where x squared, x, and the constant are listed in order and all set to equal 0, then you can pull a, b, c out. A will be 2, b is going to be -2, c is -3. So, looking at our quadratic formula, first set of parentheses is going to be the b value, so we plug in -2. Goes a b again, -2. A is a +2, C is a -3, and again, A is a +2. Once you've got your pieces replaced, our letters are now missing, all of the values are a number. This means that I can now figure out what the value of x is. So, how we start by doing this is simplifying, okay? What that means is we're going to dramatically get rid of a bunch of nonsense that we don't need. First, a negative makes this 2 positive. 2 times 2 is 4. And what we're going to do for this next piece is figure out what -2 squared minus 4 times 3 times -3 is. What we're not going to do, though, is put the square root into the calculator. On the worksheet, we are asked to simplify in lowest radical form, which means that we want the square root to stay in our story, but we don't want it to go into a decimal form. If you put it in the calculator, it's going to automatically change it into a decimal, so we're wanting to avoid that. So we end up with the square root of 28, and if you take a look at my calculator, you can see I start from the parenthesis, but I have not used the square root. If I tried to put the square root in here, it would end up coming out as a decimal, and we don't want the decimal. We want it to be in simplest radical form, which means this 28 has to be broken down into something a little bit easier. So we're going to pull out our perfect square list and decide, if I have 28, which one of these perfect squares can I pull out of the square root of 28 that won't affect it being a decimal? For example, 28, take out a 25, that's not going to be our match because it's a decimal. If I do 28, take out a 16, not going to work. 28, take out a 9, nope. 28, take out a 4, that's the one we're looking for, okay? So that means the square root of 28 is broken up into the numbers 4, which is our perfect square, so it's going to go first, and 7. Square root of 4 is the number 2, and the square root of 7 is a horrible decimal that we keep as the square root of 7. So this is going to take over the spot of the square root of 28. And so when I do that, I am left with this. Although we've broken up the square root, we haven't reduced this yet. This 2, 2, and 4 all share a specific value. I can take out a 2 from each and every term. If I pull out a 2 from a 2, I'm left with 1. 2 from a 2, 1. 2 from a 4, I'm left with 2. So my final answer will be 1 plus or minus the square root of 7. You can write the 1 if you want to, but you don't have to. All over 2. This has 2 answers. 1 plus the square root of 7 divided by 2, and 1 minus the square root of 7 divided by 2. And this is our final answer. Question number 1 from your assignment number 1 worksheet.